Hi, you made it to my channel, Niche Gaming. Today I'm going to review the white Western Star 4964. I've almost reviewed all of my Michigan fleet, with this truck being one of the last I'm going to review for this region. I'm looking forward to doing the Western Star 6900 twin steer, the Caterpillar CT681, and the Rizvani Hercules 6x6 next. As with all of my truck reviews so far, they're based on New Game Plus settings and use in the Michigan region. And even when I review trucks that will be used in other regions, those reviews will still be based on my New Game Plus rules as part of this same playthrough. How good a truck is in SnowRunner, how effective it is, how dominant it is, how affordable it is, how accessible its upgrades are, this is all relative to the type of playthrough you start up, what rules you set, and how good the truck objectively is in this game. I give you this context so you know why I chose the fleet I did while I was playing through Michigan. When I play through Alaska next, I'll have different experiences due to the region, and maybe the trucks best for that region will be different than the ones I thought best for Michigan. That decision is based on what you find for free in a region, when you get its upgrades, what type of truck you need to complete the immediate contracts, tasks, and contests, and how affordable the truck is, along with its upgrades. As I stated in my New Game Plus rules video, it is my intention to get as many different trucks as I can get my hands on during my playthrough. One of the reasons why I increased the payouts to 3 times normal is so that I could afford to get the maximum amount of trucks during my playthrough of all regions in SnowRunner. I love experiencing the advantages and disadvantages of one truck versus the other and using all their best features to efficiently complete all of this game's assignments. I do try to keep the realistic simulation aspect a factor, and my New Game Plus rules reflect that. You can definitely check that video out in the link provided. With all that in mind, let's talk about the white Western Star 4964. The White Motor Company started their Western Star division of trucks back in 1967. In 1981, White was bought out by Volvo, but the Western Star brand was sold to other owners because it wasn't part of the deal White had with Volvo. Western Star ownership changed hands a few more times until it found a permanent home under Daimler Chrysler, becoming part of their Freightliner trucks division. While the White Company has been lost to history, the Western Star brand hasn't. This is precisely why the modern-day Western Star trucks don't carry the White brand, because they're under different ownership, even though White was the one who started the line, the White Motor Company. The reason why the white Western Star 4964 retains the white in its name is because this truck, along with the Western Star line and the 4900 series the 4964 belonged to, were launched when White was running the show, back in the late 60s throughout the 70s. On the 4964's commercial brochure, it says that it's, quote, a tough breed of truck custom engineered to meet the needs of today's highway, logging, or off-highway requirements. Now, any heavy-duty truck can technically do logging, both in real life and in this game, provided that there is no slope, muddy, bumpy, uneven terrain that it has to travel through. The more you test a truck, especially with those extreme circumstances, the harder it is for it to deliver good performance. And generally speaking, heavy-duty trucks are not suitable for heavy tasks like logging. You can get it done, you can do it, but don't expect, like for example, even the Pacific P12 had a hard time transporting double loads of medium log. So if you're going to use this truck for medium logging, for example, only do one load. And even then be super careful because it's not going to be as stable as the Pacific P12. It doesn't have the weight in for many other reasons. Going uphill, for example, is going to be even tougher because it just doesn't have the power. So it certainly doesn't specialize in it, and the engine was not powerful enough in real life to handle the most difficult terrain, especially what's required for logging, particularly in SnowRunner. But in any case, in real life, this truck did perform logging tasks. It served as a highway commercial logistics truck, it was used as a dump truck, fire engine, crane truck, it had farming applications, and it was used on construction sites as well. which is typical for all of the heavy-duty trucks we've talked about so far. Maybe this was a little more rugged type applications, but essentially it's a heavy-duty truck, and all of that is to be expected. That versatility, both in real life and in the game. True to its classification as a tough American-made heavy-duty truck, it was versatile and could really do it all. SnowRunner rightfully classifies this as a heavy-duty truck, and it's also in my typical heavy-duty category, along with the Fleetstar F2070A and the GMC MH9500, the other two heavy-duty trucks I've reviewed so far. My classification heavy-duty. As you know, I classified the Chevrolet Kodiaq C70 as a medium-duty, although the game puts it in its heavy-duty category. I classify trucks in their specific category more accurately than SnowRunner does, and that's the whole point of me making my own little categories. SnowRunner has all kinds of weird reasons for one truck to be in this category, that category. It's not even that way in real life. It's just for whatever gameplay reasons they put it in this category, that category. Even though that truck really suits another category altogether. It's not that SnowRunner always gets it wrong or its categorization is completely worthless, but it leaves a lot to be desired. Let's put it that way. In SnowRunner, the 4964 is recovered by completing a task. I actually used my International Fleetstar F2070A to recover this truck, as well as a TransStar 4070A, which you can see in the video linked here. Once you complete the painstaking task of bringing the white Western Star 4964 back to the garage, you get the truck and can repair it and upgrade it. Now, if you do things a smart way and scout all of Michigan before you start using the 4964, you find its all-wheel drive, diff lock, and race suspension upgrades for free. You'll have to upgrade its tires, but other than that, a few other upgrades and repair cost, you essentially get this truck for free, fully upgraded. Now, true to its heavy-duty classification, the 4964 features the typical external add-ons, giving you a large variety of options, and this makes the 4964 versatile and dynamic, usable for many contracts, tasks, and contests. This truck has larger tires than the other trucks of its class, and so it does a bit better in the mud. It also hosts a large fuel tank for its class, reasonable fuel efficiency, and good body balance. In fact, very good body balance. Unfortunately, the crane plus flatbed plus trailer combo doesn't work with this truck, which is, I think, its biggest con. Still, while it may have this disadvantage when compared to the other Fleetstar and the GMC, in my opinion, its pros far outweigh its cons, and it's a superior truck, in SnowRunner as well as real life. I typically use it for normal and even semi-trailer transport because it doesn't lock up like the International Fleetstar F2070A or the GMC MH9500 on its low saddle. I believe I talked about this when I did the reviews for those trucks. I wouldn't test this truck's limits though, trying to do logging or high saddle trailer transport, leaving that to the industrial heavy trucks like the Pacific P12 and P16. I remember when I did the high saddle transport, it handled it. It doesn't lock up, but again, a lot of those are just really heavy transport and it just goes much slower, and sometimes it gets stuck in the mud and requires winching. Now, it really doesn't require that for any other transport, but it did require it for heavy transport that is typically associated with high saddle transport. And logging I didn't even try. I tried in a previous playthrough and I just found it too frustrating. I didn't even try logging with this truck in this game. So I had other arrangements. That's one of the reasons why I bought the Pacific P12, so that I could complete the medium logging. I had initially tried it with the white Western Star 4964 because it was one of the more stable trucks in a previous playthrough, and it didn't work out very well. Anyway, now let's talk about the dimensions and design of this truck. Its length, it's 8.7 meters, width 2.6 meters, and the weight is 17,636 pounds. That's around about 8.8 tons. Body balance rating I give it is very good. The 4964 is a breath of fresh air in your early Michigan playthrough, after having struggled with the Fleetstar and GMC trucks in terms of their body balance issues, their tendency to tip over. The white Western Star 4964's larger width, weight, its rear tandem axle wheelbase being wider than the 2.6 meter width of its cab area, its cab being lower to the ground than most other trucks, and its in general superior design makes it far more stable than most of the trucks we have used thus far within this Michigan playthrough. Regardless of the reasons, I would say its body balance is very good. I was able to get away with so many risky turns and dips that I would never try with most of my other hauling trucks. Now on the downside, it is heavier than both the Fleetstar and GMC, which hurts its power to weight ratio. We'll talk about this further when we discuss this truck's fuel efficiency and engine power. You can get differential lock at low gears and switchable all-wheel drive for the 4964. And trucks that have diff lock and AWD do better in mud and on dry off-road terrain than those that do not. Generally speaking, I mean, unless there's some other big advantage, like with the Pacific P16, it has such superior tires. So there's got to be some advantage that it has to make up for the fact that it doesn't have all-wheel drive or diff lock. The differential lock is no different than the rest of the heavy-duty trucks. That is, it's switchable at low gears. The all-wheel drive is switchable at any time, obviously. This is the same as it is for the other heavy-duty trucks we've dealt with so far. They're all three of them convertible into an off-road truck with the UOD2 tires, of course. You can use the chain tires, which I did, unfortunately, but we'll talk about that more with the tires. UOD2 is the right way. So you get the right off-road tires and you get the best performance. And it's all the same as all of the other heavy-duty trucks. The 4964 gets the same off-road gearbox that the rest of the heavy-duty class of trucks have access to, and this gives you the one extra high gear and the two extra low gears, low plus and low minus. Its best off-road tires are the same as the heavy-duty class gets access to, except these are bigger. With the exception of, I think, the GMC also uses 47-inch, but these are bigger than most of your heavy-duty trucks will have. And this is a big advantage. Its 47-inch off-road UOD2 gives you rating 0.8 in the asphalt, 3.0 in the dry off-road, and 1.9 in mud and water, as long as the water is not too deep. So muddy water, swampy, mud, 1.9 is the rating. And chain UAD3, all chains, 1.2, 3.0, 1.3. Quite a bit of difference between chain tires and off-road. And throughout my entire Michigan playthrough, I made the mistake of using all chains instead of off-road, because the game said excellent for both of them, but I only learned about the map runner stats and actual performance, and the off-road do better. You can tell they do better, and of course, map runner says they do, but the game says excellent for all chains, mud and off-road. So I'm like, okay, or good, I think, for both. I'm like, okay, they both said good, so they're probably the same, but they're not. They're significantly different. The UOD2 do significantly better in mud, and the UAD3, the chain ones, are required for icy regions in addition to giving you more control. Suspension, of course, you can keep it in stock. I don't see why you would do that. The raised suspension doesn't affect body balance too much and is a must so that you can get its large 47-inch tires. Having larger tires increases the amount of surface area of the part of the tire that can dig into the mud without actually getting stuck. Larger tires also provide higher ground clearance, which also helps prevent trucks getting stuck in mud, swimming in water, getting stuck in blades of grass or marsh, etc. In general, the bigger your tires and the higher your race suspension is, the better it is for clearing mud and those kinds of terrain. Rocky terrain, unless the rock is really big, but generally speaking, yeah, the higher your race suspension is, the higher your ground clearance, the better. Yes, that can get tipsy, but in this truck, even with a race suspension, the body balance, it doesn't affect it at all. It's a very, very stable truck, and one of the best you have access to in Michigan. The white Western Star 4964 gives you the expected medium turning radius. Now with the GMC MH9500, it's a little bit better than this, and the Fleetstar is even better than both of them. It can do really sharp turns, but Western Star pretty much as expected, as you would expect from a heavy duty truck. Doesn't have the widest and it doesn't have the shortest, so it's pretty good. It's medium turning radius as expected for a heavy duty truck. Because of its large size and tires, you can expect slightly wider turns with this truck when compared to the Fleetstar and GMC, but nothing like the heavy trucks or big rigs. The control, when you try to go fast, you will lose control with this truck. It's just a design. Certain trucks are better at maintaining control, especially when going fast. There's no terrain feedback or anything like the Chevrolet trucks. I mean, it doesn't give you any kind of negative feedback that hurts your turning or control of the truck. The control, I would say, above average good. Fuel consumption is surprisingly lower for this truck, and that coupled with its large fuel tank is a big plus. The fuel tank is 300 liters. Fuel consumption efficiency tops out at a level 18.6 liters per minute. That's with the off-road gearbox, all-wheel drive on, diff lock on, under heavy load on off-road terrain. Consumption depends upon damage status, terrain, gearbox, and load carried on rear tandem axle, plus hauled trailers. Spikes can go over the stable reading. But the stable reading I have for this truck is actually very low. It's 18.6 liters, much better than expected. Because of its heavier size and lower power to weight ratio, you might think that it would expend more fuel, but in fact its fuel efficiency is better than the GMC MH9500s and on par with the Fleetstar F2078, maybe a little better. You might get slightly different results, but after a lot of testing, what I found is it's actually slightly better than even the Fleetstar. This is a huge advantage to have a significantly larger fuel tank, yet expend lesser fuel. It's not that I didn't haul fully loaded 5-piece cargo trailers and 3,700 liter large fuel carriers, both attached by a low saddle. On the contrary, I loaded it as much as I could, and it still showed me a better fuel efficiency than its heavy-duty counterparts. The white Western Star 4964 has a large fuel tank for its class, so 300 liters versus 240 liters or 260 liters. Bear in mind that in SnowRunner, you can't upgrade the fuel tanks themselves like you can in real life, but you can install internal add-ons that can provide fuel as well as other benefits. In real life, with most commercially available trucks, you get options on how large you want the fuel tank or tanks to be, within realistic limits, of course. So in SnowRunner, for the 4964, if you want more fuel than the 300 liters in its tank, you have to install the 1800 liter fuel carrier external add-on. But by doing this, you won't be able to use this truck for any actual hauling tasks, which would be a complete waste. If I do attach a fuel carrier, then it's usually the 3700 liter large carrier installed via low saddle attachment. I did do that in my Michigan playthrough, mostly for fuel transport, taking the carrier to wherever it needs to go so they can be used up. So I can be there to support my fleet as I was completing tasks. That's what you do with your fuel carriers. You go grab that fuel carrier wherever it is, if you need to move it, so that your fleet can have it when you need it, where you need it, where you expect that this truck will probably need a fill up here. So you put them in kind of like almost like gas stations or fuel stations. But still surprisingly good results on the fuel efficiency and of course large fuel tank. That just makes this truck that much better. The white Western Star 4964 features typical heavy-duty power. A real-life engine, a Cummins NTC 350, diesel inline 6-cylinder 14-liter 350 horsepower at 1700 RPM, 1120 pound-foot torque at 1300 RPM. Max gross combination weight of around about 100,000 pounds, about 50 tons. That's a little bit better than the real-life Fleetstar. Best commercial available engine that I could find was the Cummins NTC 335 for the Fleetstar. Slightly under, like 335 horsepower versus 350 horsepower. Pretty much the same, and I like the fact that the game sticks true to that. Both of these trucks are in fact in the same class, in terms of power at least. The game engine is called a Westline V6 2350T. MapRunner gives its torque 155,000. rating, and of course the mass is 8,000. The power to weight ratio is 155/8, which is about 19.375, so a little under 20. This is obviously less than the Fleetstars, even less than the GMC MH9500, because this truck is just heavier than both of those trucks. The power to weight ratio is worse than its heavy duty counterparts because it's heavier but has an engine of this class. But this doesn't seem to be as disadvantageous as one would think. The SnowRunner version of this truck's engine upgrade is exactly the same model as a Fleetstar uses, the Westline V6 2350T, with 155,000 torque, map run stats. However, the game has its way of giving certain trucks better performance and some engines better fuel efficiency. As discussed earlier, the 4964 offers better fuel efficiency than the Fleetstar. While the truck could have been better on the power to weight ratio if it was lighter, simple math, it certainly doesn't prove to be much of a disadvantage when compared with the Fleetstar and GMC. So I really like the fact that even though the engines are the same within the game, and I think in real life as well, roughly the same, slightly better, in the game it's the exact same engine, but the truck performs better. I like the physics of that it performs better, its fuel efficiency is better, it just expends less fuel under full load, full pressure. That's cool. I like that different trucks behave different ways. That's good on SnowRunner to do it that way. I don't know the physics or calculations that go into it, but I love the fact that one truck does in fact perform better, even though it's the same engine. That's cool. This truck, of course, gives you the typical heavy-duty add-ons. The 4964 offers you the same customizability as its heavy-duty counterparts, except that it doesn't offer the crane plus flatbed plus trailer combo. Because when you give it a crane and flatbed, or sideboard bed, whatever, and then try to connect a trailer, it says that there's a conflict, as if the flatbed is in the way or something. This, in my opinion, is the biggest disadvantage when compared to the Fleetstar and GMC. But because of it still being a versatile truck and all of its other advantages, this one thing doesn't hurt its usefulness to your fleet much. As you can see in my playthrough and my footage, I'm using it plenty for everything. The flatbed semi-trailer, the low saddle 3,700 liter fuel tanks. I mean, it's handling it like a champ. Much better than the Fleetstar and the GMC MH9500, which actually start locking up when you start trying to make turns, especially the Fleetstar. I think it has to do with the lack of the weight of the truck or just the design. Again, that's great on SnowRunner that certain trucks just perform better, even though technically they can attach that attachment, but it just doesn't perform very well when you try to use that level of transport. I used it for its low saddle trailer transport capabilities to haul 5-piece cargo trailers or large 3,700 liter fuel carriers. I attached a crane plus flatbed and went down in the quarry to load materials for certain large trucks like the Western Star 6900 twin steer that couldn't go into the quarry in Smithville Dam themselves. That truck is just way too large to go into the quarry. You can take it there, but you're just asking for it to be tipped over. So I attached a crane, connected a 5-piece cargo trailer so that I could load the oil drill for the task. This truck was one of the most frequently used and dependable trucks I had for my Michigan playthrough. And that includes the Michigan Super Orders. In terms of a verdict, I don't have anything negative to say about this truck. Yes, it has a couple of disadvantages, but the advantages so far outweigh the disadvantages that this feels like a premium superior truck. And of course you get it for free. Not exactly free because you do have to work for it to get it back to the garage. Yes, it's tough to bring it, especially when you don't know how. The first time you do it, you just don't know the best way to do it. That's why I recommend you definitely watch my Fleetstar rescue of both of these trucks, the White Western Star 4964 and of course the TransStar 4070A. Both of those trucks I rescued with the Fleetstar. That's one thing the Fleetstar did very well because of its very high power to weight ratio, so light in weight that it was good for rescuing trucks. When it's fully upgraded, of course, and turned into an off-road truck. Not that good at hauling cargo, but definitely good at getting trucks and rescuing trucks and that sort of thing. So this truck, I mean, when you finally do get it and you repair it, upgrade it, you don't even have to pay for the upgrades in Michigan. it's one of those trucks that is kind of a gift, kind of like the Pacific P16. It's a gift for you in your Michigan playthrough to help you finish all your tasks and everything. Amazing truck, tough to get, more than worth it. Just one of the best trucks in your Michigan playthrough. All of the upgrades are free. The main 3 upgrades, things that you typically have to upgrade when you want to convert a heavy-duty truck from a regular highway truck to an off-roader, those main upgrades are done, exception of tires, sure. But you essentially get it for free and fully upgraded. Of course, if you do the scouting first. It's so stable, the body balance is so far superior to the Fleetstar and GMC MH9500. Not getting stuck on low saddle attachments. It's larger tires. It's better fuel efficiency. It's larger fuel tank. I mean, all of this stuff. You put it all together, and with a few disadvantages as they are, this truck is just a far superior truck. You would be an idiot to sell this truck. You need this truck in your Michigan playthrough and well beyond. This is one of your bread and butter trucks. Must have it as your Michigan fleet. And I'm anticipating that I will probably be using this truck throughout. Probably, I don't know how much farther we'll see after I actually get into those regions, but I anticipate that I'll be using this truck throughout my entire SnowRunner playthrough. It is just one of those trucks. I even did the heavy trailer transport. It can do it, but when you put a lot of pressure on it, and let's say you try to take it through the mud along with it, then you're just asking too much. The power isn't there. It can do the best heavy duty of its class can do, but you ask for too much when you try to do medium logging, long logs. You're just asking for too much. It just doesn't have the power. It'll definitely need to winch more and that sort of thing. And in certain cases, it may not be even able to do it. The medium logging, of course, is one of the most destabilizing cargoes in the game. It'll make it so much more tipsy, and as good as this truck is, as good as the body balance is, as stable as the truck is, it ends up just tipping over too many times. Yeah, don't go to the logging and high saddle trailer transport, but everything else. It can do the crane plus flatbed. Yeah, I can't add a trailer in addition to the crane plus flatbed, but you could use as a pure hauler and attach a flatbed, so 2 plus a ramp trailer that's 4-piece. So you can even take 6 pieces, or you can attach a low saddle with a 5-piece cargo flatbed semi-trailer. I mean, you can do a lot of things with this truck and it make it very, very useful. And that's one of the reasons why the remaining footage that I have for the White Western Star 4964 is for the Michigan Super Orders. It was one of my most reliable trucks. I'll be completing that video, of course, after I get done with the remaining 3 reviews I have for this first region of my SnowRunner playthrough. But one of my favorite trucks, and I'm again anticipating I'll probably be using this truck throughout my SnowRunner playthrough. Love it, love it, love it. Until I get like a much better for my fleet, and of course you always want to have different options. So you can get other good trucks, but this is one of those trucks you definitely have to use. Don't sell it. It's one of your best, it's your bread and butter, one of the best trucks you have in your fleet, especially early Michigan. So that's it for my review of the White Western Star 4964. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like my videos. If you do, if you benefited a little bit from it, and you enjoy watching the footage and everything else, I mean, just give me a like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.